Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. For this video I have 4 topics, but I will linger more on the first topic. And the first topic is meant to show you the dynamics of this planet. That is how this beautiful world with so many countries and so many interests actually function at its core. And that is based on power, on force. And that is, the strong will push around the weak. That's the nature of this, whatever you want to call it, planet, universe, that's the way it is. Sometimes the weak will become strong due to one little caveat, and that is nuclear weapons. So I'm going to show you all this pretense of rules-based world order and United Nations and international law, how that has no effect on a small country or any country that has nuclear weapons and is an independent country. You can be independent only when you are safe, when you're strong enough. If you're a servant, you will not be independent. Why? Obviously, you're afraid of whatever the stronger will tell you. So let's start with the first article. The other ones have to do with the Russian army getting some airplanes, and then the other one is with the Russians who are having this defense treaty with North Korea, which is a checkmate for the Western world with North Korea, and that's related with the nuclear weapons as well. And then Putin again wins, unfortunately for us, Africa. He's willing to assist Africa with all possible assistance. All possible. All right, we're going to talk about that. Let's start with the first topic, where these guys in little statements that are not meant for that, to make a big statement, we can look into what reality really is. So here it is, Russia Today. 11th of November 2024. NATO admiral complains about Russian nukes. And this is what he says. Let's fit it in. The US-led bloc's troops would have already been on the ground in Ukraine if it weren't for Moscow's nuclear arsenal, Rob Bauer claims. And I'm going to give you the exact statement that he said right here. This is what he says. I am absolutely sure if the Russians did not have nuclear weapons, we would have been in Ukraine kicking them out. So what does that tell you? That's a reality. If Russia would have had no nuclear weapons to keep these guys at bay, these guys would have been over there and done whatever they wanted. In this case, he claims kick them out because they don't belong there. So that's going to get me to North Korea. Why do you think we don't have an attack on North Korea? North Korea has about 23 million people. So small country like Saddam's Iraq that we dare to get in and fuck them up. Why? They didn't have nuclear weapons. And Iran has about what? 82 million people, if I remember correctly, about 82 million. But they don't have nuclear weapons, but they have the Russians and the Chinese. So I don't know if they're going to intervene when those guys going to order the United States of America to hit them. But if Iran gets nuclear weapons, it's all over. Nobody's going to touch Iran anymore. Now, if Libya of Gaddafi would have had nuclear weapons, nobody would have touched them. All kind of sanctions and blah, 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 but nobody would have invaded. Why? Little country with nuclear weapons equals the strong countries with nuclear weapons. You got that? It's not something like rocket science, what I'm saying. I know you figured that out as well. I just want to show you how they come and say it. They say it. Now, that was not the main how should I put it, purpose of these guys, the admiral's press conference. It was something else. But in all that, he mentioned that. The same how I find sometimes the truth in other articles that are not related to this issue, let's say, but they mention the reality here that contradicts something that they try to lie us in an article dealing with the issue. So in the article dealing with the issue, they omitted many things to make a point, obviously. so he's lying by omission. But in other articles, not really related to that one, they give you a little detail that gives you, here is the piece that was missing that will contradict all their work in that or those articles. The same here. So no wonder that these guys want to have nuclear weapons. Nobody will touch you. And you're going to get in, let me show you, right here. According to Reuters, Putin signs into law mutual defense treaty with North Korea. So they will get you with these guys. So that means Russia will provide North Korea with equipment, will do trade, military training, with resources, with money from the BRICS Bank, and so on. So that means North Korea ducked over there. The guys were punching, bang, bang, bang. He was, fuck. And now it's up. Why? Because you got the other guy here that can smack that guy who was punching, or those guys who were punching. You want nuclear weapons? You're going to be independent. The problem is, these things are very tight. So, next article. This comes from Sputnik. Russian army acquires new cutting-edge fighter jets. Okay, well, I don't care about these words. I want to see what they do in real war, in real experience. Sukhoi 57, also known in NATO countries as Felon, is a multi-purpose fighter jet designed to rain the skies while avoiding radar. Another stealth. All right, a batch of 5th generation Sukhoi 57 fighters and a 4++ generation Sukhoi 35S aircraft has been delivered to Russia's Ministry of Defense. Will they be used? The press service of Russian state-run arms corporations Rosneft reported to journalists. The United Aircraft Corporation, part of the Rosneft Corporation, has handed over the latest batch of new Sukhoi 57 and Sukhoi 35S aircraft to the Russian airspace forces. I checked this, look down, to see the word Ukraine. All right? And guess what? I did not find it. That means I don't know how good it is. All right, next one. That's why you got to use it, in order to know what's going on. And let's see how Putin checkmates these baboons who play checkers, all right, in Africa. Russia Today. Putin pledges all possible assistance to Africa. Moscow is seeking to further develop its ties with the continent, the whole continent, not a few countries, the Russian president explained. Moscow will continue to provide all possible assistance to African nations in various spheres, ranging from tackling epidemic diseases to fighting terrorism. That's weapons, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said. So, my friends, let me unpack this little thing with possible and probable. Now, when I say, let's say I'm at home, I'm not going to give you my example. Let's get to the Russians. Oh, abracadabra. I was talking like, all right. So, the example of Russia. Russia can possibly assist Africa with nuclear weapons. It's a possibility. Now, possible is like if they can. Yeah, they can. They're able to. Is it probable? That's a different story. But if he pledges all possible assistance, that in Putin's statement, possibility matches the probability in a certain way. So all possible assistance, that means weapons, money, troops, training, nuclear weapons deployment, all that's possible. Therefore, he pledges to do it. So who won here? Now, if this garbage in Ukraine wouldn't have been pushed, I know, unprovoked and unjustifiable war against our freedom and rights, and all right, if that would not have been pushed, the Russians never have done this. Not never. They would have not done this. But they do it because they said, now let me take my freaking gloves off and I'm going to punch, all right, like that. And boom. So that's the way it works. So who won? They won. Who lost? We did. Who else won? The banking system, the international banking system, the military contractors, the US military contractors, or global, how you want to call them, and the energy sphere, the, how do you call it, whatever, interests. These are the main three that won. And other little baboons around, the politicians with their little schemers and all that. But we lost overall. Why? Because BRICS and the other countries are going to form a bigger, greater union, more perfect union than ours. Ours is created by threats and occupation. Look at Europe. Europe is occupied militarily, politically, economically, and culturally. They changed their culture. They are over there. We have troops over there they don't have in our country. So it tells you the who's who, what's what. And Europe, will be used against the Russians. You could be used against Iran, wherever they order from southeast of Europe. Draw a line and you're going to find out that little country that is very independent and has, in my assessment, nuclear weapons. Therefore, they can do what the fuck ever they want. Now, if a country becomes paranoid and crazy because God helps them and promises them shit, what are you going to do about it? I told you what you're going to do. You organize a little operation, and in 3 hours, you make sure that that paranoid is a little bit contained. You take their weapons and the possibility to create more, and then you protect them. Not by killing everybody else. Protect them, create another country over there. They can't coexist. That's a baboonish, imbecilic thing. All right. But nevertheless, if you want to try that, you go to a country that, anyway, not going to go into that one. But nevertheless, here it is, my friends. Take their nukes away. Protect. But that's the right of that country to have it. But if that country has the right, then Romania has the right. Hungary has the right. I don't know, Canada has the right. We all have it. But no, only the one that used them has the right and tells everybody you can use it. And the baboonish argument is because you know how it is. And we know. No, you're proud of doing that because you said you shortened the war and you saved our boys' lives, which is true. It's true. But if you use the same logic, the Russians can say the same thing in Ukraine. And it's like saying, you know what, that guy was a rapist and never charged or convicted, and we appointed him as being the judge, the city judge in rape cases. What, just because he did it? It doesn't mean that he should be the guy who's going to distribute justice in something that he did. That was a war crime. Those drops of 2 atomic bombs, it was a war crime. It meets the definition. It was on civilians, cities, civilians, and all that. And you can call it almost a genocide because this guy said, if the people of Japan, the nation, will not surrender, we're going to go from Hiroshima to Nagasaki, then we're going to go to, the next one is going to be probably Yokohama, then probably it's going to be Kobe, there's going to be that. That's what they said. We will not stop until you say, okay, here's my pants off, and I will give it to you entirely. That's what they said. Now let's say the Japanese would say, we're not going to accept this unconditional surrender. These guys would have gone until there would be no more Japanese. How do you call that? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.